Hello there, NextGen fam. Welcome to Mentor Moments with NextGen HQ. Please make sure to sit back, take out your notebook, and enjoy what's to come. We are so very thrilled to have Kara Goldin on with us today to share her experiences and lessons so that we ourselves can grow stronger in our entrepreneurial journeys. Kara is the founder and CEO of Hint Inc., which is a healthy lifestyle brand that produces leading, award-winning, unsweetened flavored water among other products such as sunscreen and deodorant. Kara is quite the fantastic entrepreneur and has received numerous accolades, including being named EY Entrepreneur of the Year, Fast Company's Most Creative People in Business, and one of Fortune's Most Powerful Women Entrepreneurs. Kara, we're so very excited to have you here, and thanks for making the time.
Thanks for having me.
How is everything looking in your world on this lovely Friday?
It's pretty good. It's a beautiful day. So I'm in Marin County, just north of San Francisco, and it's it's sunny day. Got my exercise in this morning, and now it's just been, just a lot of figuring stuff out before the weekend. I think it's always for me a little bit, we've always had kind of a remote staff all over the place, but I find it's just making sure that I connect with all the people before they're off for the weekend. And, it's just that's my Friday mornings.
I fully understand. Well, from one coast, the West Coast, to the next, the East Coast, which is where I am, we are both making sure to end our weeks on a powerful note. And for many of you watching, to start your weeks off powerfully with this video. But Kara, we're going to go ahead and dive right in. We're going to start with a little bit of a NextGen HQ tradition, which are rapid fire questions. Are you okay with that?
Yeah.
Amazing. What is a book you'd recommend that others read?
The Originals, Adam Grant.
We have many Adam Grant fans in the community. How about your favorite place to work in?
Outside. Under a tree.
I love it. Love it. What's one healthy habit that you have?
I drink lots of water, and preferably Hint. But if I don't have water, or if I don't have Hint, then I look for great water.
I love that. And what do you believe your spirit animal is?
My spirit animal. That's a good question. I don't know that one. I mean, I would probably say a tiger. Somebody who's just kind of just goes in and just gets it done, right? And then gets out.
Amazing. Well, talking on that note about getting it done, going in, taking care of the job, and continuing on forward, seems like a great time to start diving into what your journey has looked like. And in particular, I want to kind of go back to a little bit earlier on after you transitioned from a major corporation right out of college into a smaller startup environment. I'm curious to know, what was the moment that inspired that pivot and that kind of work transition, and how did you decide to take that risk?
So I was, my first job was at Time and Time Inc., which had a lot of publications in it, and I was working in circulation. So I was working cross-title, they called it, for lots of different magazines, Time, Sports Illustrated, People, just to name a few. And I would say, and it wasn't any glamorous job. I mean, I was an executive assistant, was my first role there. I learned a ton. Circulation, for those of you who don't know, is really the blow-in insert cards that fall out of magazines. That's kind of the world of circulation as it relates to magazine business. But what I learned so much about was how consumers buy, like everything from figuring out prices to language to frequency and all of those kind of issues. And so, that was probably the biggest company that I was at. And I say that because then I went to CNN and I was working within a small division at CNN. And then I ended up going to my first kind of startup, which was doing CD-ROM, that was an offshoot of Apple. and then we got acquired by AOL, which was not a super small company, but, they were at the time, maybe just shy of 100 people. And so I feel like I never consciously said, oh, I want to go do a startup or I want to be an entrepreneur. I think for me, I felt like these were all kind of either, with the exception of the circulation and really my first role, I felt like these were all kind of, smaller sort of innovative companies, disruptive groups within larger companies that ultimately ended up sort of getting me really interested. And I think, that's the thing. I mean, typically those kind of groups within larger companies, it's, they're riskier, right? If they decide not to do it, like maybe you're going to get laid off and, and then like, what do you do? So people tend to be sort of nervous about those groups. I like them because they're less defined, right? I've always been attracted to that. I wouldn't have been able to answer it that way, when I was 20 something, but I think that the same is true today. Like I'm a creator. I like, I'm a builder. And I still think that that's the same 15 years later for, Hint, and sort of where I tend to really enjoy is let's figure out new stuff. We've already figured out how to bottle this product and distribution. Let's figure out how do we do direct to consumer as it relates to this? How do we do new stuff? So again, I think there's definitely personality stuff and kind of stuff that I've always been interested in. But I think when you're in the thick of it, it's hard to actually define, oh, that's who I am. I don't think I could have taken a test that would have said, okay, what you should do is always look for, these kind of, roles within companies, or you're going to be an entrepreneur for sure. But now hindsight 2020, it was all kind of there.
I feel like that can be said for so many things. It always takes the hindsight, actually going through the experience and then reflecting back on it, that it comes to life.
Totally.
Amazing. So you've definitely had this innovative and creative experience and kind of drive within you, it seems like, from the very start. But flipping over into Hint, when you figured out it was time for you to take the leap and start building a company, how did you get that concept originally for your business? And is there a moment in time that really stands out to you when you knew this is it, this is what I'm meant to be doing?
So I'd always been in sort of media or tech. And for me, the, Hint really it came at a time when I was taking a couple of years off. I had 3 young kids at the time. I now have 4 teenagers. But it was at a time when health was just really important to me. And I really kind of woke up and recognized that, like, I had terrible adult acne. I had gained a bunch of weight. My energy levels were really low. And that's not how I ever used to be. And so suddenly I woke up and I wasn't working. I was taking some time off. And I was like, okay, how do I get back to where I used to be? And it wasn't even a conversation that I would have like with my husband or something. Like, it was something internal. Like, I would never get on the scale. I would never, look in the mirror. I just was like kind of sad about it. And that's when I just decided I'm going to take this time while I do have a break to really like eat healthy, shop the right way, and exercise. And nothing was working. And so finally, I had been reading food labels, but I really wasn't reading drink labels. And so one day it just dawned on me that, like, I had no reason to not read drink labels. And I was looking at like my favorite friend, Diet Coke, that I had been drinking forever, and decided I'm going to just like put it to the side for now. I didn't even say I'm going to quit. I said, I'm going to put it to the side and see if it makes any difference. And after 2.5 weeks, my acne was gone. I had lost over 20 pounds. 20 pounds, like in 2.5 weeks. It was really crazy. And I just felt like, wow, like what just happened? I mean, it wasn't even full sugar. It was diet, right? And And so after I was like living this way, and I was, spent about a year, and I lost more weight, my skin continued to look good. I felt like, there's probably a lot of people like me out there, since I know that this like diet soda market was so big. And I wonder if I had been at home slicing up fruit and throwing it in water. And I thought, I wonder if there's other people like me out there. And so I sort of did my own kind of small little focus groups amongst my friends, and, really looked how big the market was, not only for diet soda, but for things that were like healthy perception products, like vitamin water was like the biggest one out there at the time. And I thought, people probably make a decision like, oh, I'm being healthy by drinking these products. And they may not know that, that may not be the healthiest decision to be making. And so what if I like actually brought this product that I'd been making in my kitchen? There was no other product like it on the market that was a still water. And maybe I could just get it on the shelf at Whole Foods. And it's funny because, a lot of people have asked me this question around like, did you always know you wanted to start a beverage company or be an entrepreneur? No, in fact, even when I had gotten it on the shelf at Whole Foods, friends would run into me and they would say, oh, that's so cool that you start a company. And I'm like, is it a company? I mean, here I had worked for like Time and CNN and AOL and all these like companies they were big and multiple products and like lots of stuff going on. And I thought, I have like 3 SKUs, and, like that's not a company, that's products, right? And so, I almost argued against myself, like didn't believe that I really had a company. And then finally, after I was like kind of getting traction, I thought, I don't know, maybe it is a company after all. And so we sort of at that point, I was less concerned about defining what is it that I'm doing. Instead, all along the way, I kept getting emails from consumers who were saying, oh, I buy your product at Whole Foods and you're helping me to, get my energy levels back, lose weight, control my, diabetes, or, get me through cancer treatments or whatever it is. And I thought, I don't know what I'm doing, but this is awesome, right? Like the fact that I don't even know these people and they're writing me notes saying like, oh my God, thank you for like making this product. And I had frankly never gotten those emails when I worked in tech. And, not saying that we weren't doing great things, but I just people didn't have this kind of relationship with our products that I felt like they would just send those kind of emails. So, I still say to this day, I mean, it's something that really keeps me going. And I get emails from consumers still to this day, every day on various, emails or social platforms saying like, let me tell you my story. And there's a lot of consistencies amongst these stories, but I think, the key thread and the key word that almost always is included is actually 2 words: helping, you're helping me, and thank you, which I think is such a powerful thing. So if you can be the founder of a company that gets that kind of feedback, that is incredibly powerful.
More powerful than even some words can say.
Yeah.
This leads into a good next question. I feel a good segue into this. Do you feel as though your why for Hint has changed from when you first started to now, or has it only kind of strengthened and emboldened that sense of, I want to help people feel good and I want to help them get healthy?
Yeah, it always was about, like I said, not starting a beverage company, but really, helping people get healthier. Initially, it started with me and my own family, and then it, moved into helping others. And so, I'd say that the biggest change is we started in water, in still water. We continued to develop flavors. Then we decided that, although I didn't drink as much carbonated water because I just wanted to be drinking water all day long, and I thought I'll like blow up if I drink too much carbonation. I thought, there's a lot of people, especially if you have more than one person in your house, that actually, have somebody else in the house that really likes carbonated water. And we don't think there's anything wrong with carbonated water at all. And so we launched a carbonated version called Hint Fizz of the product a few years ago. And then we really went crazy and branched out into sunscreen, because I wanted a sunscreen that didn't have ingredients like oxybenzone and a few other things that I think are, now really commonly known as not so great, and also that smelled great. And so we use our essences that we're using in the waters to actually scent the sunscreens. And then most recently, we dove into deodorant and really looked at, the deodorant market and sort of the better for you deodorants that are out there. I was really looking for something that I could wear as a deodorant that didn't have aluminum in it. And it ends up that all antiperspirants have aluminum. There were deodorants, obviously, that didn't have aluminum in it, but most of them have coconut in them. And so coconut is actually a class 1 allergen. And so our promise, I happen to be allergic to coconut, and if you're not allergic to coconut, then there's nothing wrong with a lot of these deodorants out there. But our promise to consumers is that, if you have any class 1 allergies, whether that's peanuts or coconut or, anything else out there, it's actually really tough to find products, even if you want to do, better. So, we initially just put Hint on as a placeholder, but then we recognized like it kind of works, because it's like we're helping people actually, clean up in other ways what they've been doing. And, the funny thing is we never thought when we launched Hint that we were anything more than helping the consumer. But I also feel like in some ways we also play this role of putting pressure on industries to actually do better and change. And so, in the sunscreen market, I've talked to major sunscreen manufacturers about, why we did this. And I think that, again, I think there's room for both of us in the market. And I hugely believe that, as a small company that doesn't have millions of products to actually reformulate, as an example, you can actually lead the way and show them that, no oxybenzone in a product is actually not only doable, but that's what consumers want.
So not only have you been a leader in your company, but also in your industry and in the markets that you're working with, you've gained so much wonderful experience from these past few years of your professional and entrepreneurial journey. So if there were a few short words that you could share, what would you, for the next generation of leaders who want to step up and who want to also create this impactful change?
I think that the most important thing, I have a book actually coming out in October that goes over a lot of this, but it's called Undaunted, and it's just going into pre-sale now. So definitely go out and buy it. It's on Amazon. It's Undaunted by Goldin. And, it really talks about there's just a lot of people. You can always find people who will doubt you. Right. And I really have found over the years that, it's often because they doubt themselves or they've been sort of told those kind of messages. And so, if you believe that you can't do something, I am 110% sure that you can't. Right. And so you have to sort of get through some of those, call them negative feelings, call them fear, doubt, or whatever. But that is like probably, the number one thing that I've learned, that I really believe that we're all capable of a lot more if we actually, believe in ourselves. Don't search out people that are going to tell you, oh yeah, that's a bad idea. You're not going to do this, because you'll always be able to find those people. And instead, don't fear failure. Fear not actually going on the journey, because I can't even tell you how many times where, you know, I think, okay, this is what I'm going for. But then along the way, you call it pivot, you can call, you know, taking a right turn instead of a left, whatever. And you just like explore along the way. And oftentimes, you know, even when I hit like a bump, I think that like that's okay, because I learned a lot and learned enough to be able to move on and not make those mistakes, not go down that, you know, river in that direction if, you know, again, the next time. Right. And so I think like that's the biggest thing that I think people, you know, need to figure out is like, you know, like if you really have an idea, and in many ways, if you're gifted an idea to go and do something, then go do it and go try it and see what will happen. Because I think oftentimes that's for a reason.
You heard it right from Kara's lips. Be undaunted in going after your journey and experiencing the growth that you'll have along the way. Kara, thank you so very much for joining us on Mentor Moments today. It's been such a pleasure to hear from you.
Yeah, thanks for having me. And everybody grab your hint along the way. So
awesome. Follow the socials and we will be in touch soon.
Awesome. Thank you so much, you guys. Have a great weekend.